the only thing God managed to create are organic beings. All these trees and giraffes and humans, they are just organic. But we are now trying to create inorganic entities, inorganic life forms, cyborgs, artificial intelligence, and so forth. If we succeed, and there is a very good chance we will, then very soon we will be beyond the God of the Bible.
Yep, you heard it correctly. That is Yuval Harari, the henchman of the World Economic Forum, the right-hand man to Klaus Schwab, describing how him and his technocratic billionaire buddies will be the new gods of this current world. Just when you thought they couldn't get more deranged, here we are. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there is a lot of absolutely important news to get into today, as there is a lot of newspeak going around, especially within the Biden administration, that, is just simply changing the meaning of words when it's inconvenient for them. What's going on now? Why are they lying through their teeth to you? Well, this is all a part of an agenda that, of course, is being pushed on by the individuals that literally want to equip themselves with godlike authority. And these comments that we played in the beginning of this video are one of many comments by Yuval Harari and other members of the World Economic Forum that are literally bragging that they're doing this right in front of your face. This, as the corporate media usually does their bidding and calls you a crazy conspiracy theorist if you dare to even reiterate and add context to their statement. And when the corporate media is not busy shilling for the establishment billionaire technocratic ruling elite, they're usually just busy pushing their agenda, as of course, according to my own personal opinion, is perfectly represented by the latest articles from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, where it seems like they're trying to tell us something, especially with the New York Times' latest article talking about cannibalism as a way to go after climate change, or the Wall Street Journal's article about, making your own coffin. This as excess debts have been increasing dramatically all over the Western world, especially amongst young men, with a drastic increase with many insurance companies ringing the alarm bells, with the corporate media not looking that concerned with it, leaving a lot of people asking the question, why are there so many younger people dying more than ever? Especially in recent history, sudden adult death syndrome is a new made-up media term, and you start asking yourselves, what happened recently? Was there kind of a larger scientific experiment played out on humanity that could be correlated with this? What's the real reason? What's going on here? But be careful not to ask too many questions, because you'll be censored online if you do. This, as even political scholar Noam Chomsky recently came out on an interview with Russell Brand and said that people living in the United States are, quote, living in totalitarian culture, which he described worse than the Soviet Union. Now, of course, we don't always agree with Noam Chomsky and his political assertions, but he made some very interesting points, especially when it comes to Americans being denied the access to information, big tech social media censorship, specifically referencing how Americans are, quote, not permitted to hear what Russians are saying, describing the political censorship of American journalists like Chris Hedges, going on talking about how you want to hear what your adversaries are saying. It is the utmost importance, according to Chomsky, and I have to agree with him, because if a country is going to be free, it needs free speech, and that is something, sadly, that has been being limited here in the United States by unaccountable multinational corporations that, of course, have connections to U.S. intelligence agencies, as of course there has been a full-on frontal assault against anyone questioning the prevailing narrative, the agenda, the official talking points from the powers that be, and if you dare to question the status quo, you're going to be put on lists, just like the Ukrainian government did, that, by the way, censors speech, doesn't allow independent media, squashes opposing political parties, consolidates control of state-run media organizations, and now has put out a list of Americans that, according to the Ukrainian government, are, quote, Russian propagandists. The list of people should be surprising to many, as, of course, these are individuals questioning what's in the best interest for the United States. These are individuals like U.S. Senator Rand Paul, Tulsi Gabbard, former Congresswoman, Glenn Greenwald, the journalist. Some elements of the corporate media within the United States is running with this list and continuing to attack these individuals for daring to question the narrative and question the logic of a never-ending war, as of course these individuals also are individuals calling for peace talks and deals that would de-escalate the conflict rather than escalate it, especially since, of course, there is so much at stake here when it comes to this larger geopolitical proxy war between Russia and the United States. Literally, there's going to be entire countries in the developing world that are going to be starved out because of this conflict that very few voices are trying to end or de-escalate. The few voices that are being attacked, and I think that's ridiculous, especially on the forefront of millions of people in this world literally starving because of these political aspirations. Add this to the deliberate policies made by a lot of Western governments attacking farmers, limiting their ability to produce food, to export food, to trade food, to make food, going along with, of course, the World Economic Forum agenda, the UN 2030 vision, as already we saw massive results of their policies being implemented in the Netherlands and Sri Lanka and in many other places around the world, as the policies proposed by the World Economic Forum, even in an article in July of 2019, are being implemented and causing global havoc. That havoc, to me, is being done deliberately, which we discuss extensively on how to deal with on LukeUncensored.com, our own private members area where we get to delve into these topics on a deeper level than just here on this particular platform. We're going to be doing a video right after this one, which you could watch there, about what some people are calling the biggest scandal in medical history. This is we have some more context to provide you about this larger agenda, as of course there's a lot of monkey business going around that we cannot talk about here on this particular broadcast. That's why we started LukeUncensored.com. Join our members area. Yesterday's video was a hybrid video going through some of your questions. So many questions you guys are asking me during our public AMA that we're going to have to continue answering your questions at the end of today's uncensored video. And if you want to get in on the AMA, you want to get in on these videos and the personal messages that I have for you as an individual, sign up to LukeUncensored.com for just 50 cents a day just by clicking the link down in the description below and continuing this important conversation and getting involved with a lot of the future projects that we're going to have available and working with you one-on-one on LukeUncensored.com. Now, there's a lot of crazy things happening in our society that are only made that much more crazier with the administration's response to it, which is usually met with newspeak. If you don't know what newspeak is, it was a term that described the fictional language in the dystopian novel 1984, made by, of course, George Orwell, that described how the political party at that time controlled language by, of course, simplifying it, restricting words that they didn't like, and, of course, readily changing definitions where, of course, war was peace, freedom was slavery, and ignorance was strength. And even though we're not at such absurd levels of changing definitions of words, we have to understand that we're slowly getting there, especially when it comes to a medical procedure that this administration wants you to take, that the private companies that have no liability for or making record profits off of with the help of their friends in politics that, of course, they give money to. This as now you need to take multiple procedures to be fully procedured. I gotta watch my words here. But this, of course, is just one clear example. There's other more recent examples of this, especially when it comes to the meaning of what a recession is, as the Biden administration looks like they're trying to change the definition of it. And now, also, just moments ago, publicly declaring that we are not going into a recession. Words that, of course, have been met with a lot of skepticism since there is an overwhelming amount of evidence showing that we are. What is a recession? By legal definition, an economic downturn in 2 consecutive cycles. There's now even a fact check about the White House changing the definition, as Janet Yellen today described, the Treasury Secretary of the United States, that, quote, "We're not in a recession. We're in a transition in which growth is slowing." Slowing growth in 2 consecutive quarters? I wonder what that's called. I wonder what the definition of that is. This, of course, words from the former head of the U.S. Federal Reserve that literally put us in this situation by printing money out of thin air, secretly bailing out Wall Street companies, and creating one of the largest transfers of wealth in recorded human history, taking money from you, creating one of the largest taxes on you. One of the largest taxes, of course, is inflation, without people even realizing it, as, of course, it devalues and destroys the money that you have. It takes away money from you without actually physically taking away, but by devaluing the purchasing power of the paper that you were given. And now, why are they playing with these words? Well, because they want to cover up the damage that they have done. They don't want to be held responsible, as, of course, they clearly got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. And again, what's happening right now financially is a calamity. And hey, I would actually agree with the Biden administration. Maybe we're not in a recession. Maybe we're in a deliberate destruction of our current economic world order in order to financially bankrupt and rob everyone to transfer more of the wealth to the billionaire class that has been getting everything that they have ever wished for. Their losses are privatized. Your taxes, your money, your purchasing power pays for that. Their profits, they get to keep themselves. This as even mega corporations like Walmart are slashing their profit forecasts. This as their and Amazon's and Target shares all go down in what some people are describing as a train wreck warning, as of course less people are spending money since less people have money. The bankers, the international corporations have more of it than they ever did before. And how did we get here? We got here because we gave the federal government control of the world economy. They gave us lockdowns, they gave us restrictions, they gave us mandates that they wanted to put in place even before a global sickness hit the world. It was just an excuse for them to carry out those same policies. Policies, of course, promoted and pushed on by the World Economic Forum, the Davos group, that literally has been calling for these same kind of restrictions, lockdowns, and mandates even before there was a sickness. They push, of course, green policies that, of course, deny people the access to energy, resources, and food. And this Biden administration has been implementing policies that have been directly shooting the American economy in the foot. These, of course, are policies not just instituted by one country, but by many other countries in unison. Countries like in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, where their prime minister even had the gall to say that unless you hear anything from the government, it's not the truth. As, of course, these deliberate economic downturns and destruction of any kind of financial prosperity are being met with more and more authoritarian, despotic-like behavior that's not in the best interest of the general public. Germany is one of the countries that also has been implementing a lot of these policies, especially when it comes to their energy grid, which right now is being devastated by their own policies that has crippled it. They literally got rid of their nuclear power plants to help the earth, which is absolutely mind-boggling. As of course now they're trying to go back on coal, as of course Russia keeps turning on and off their supply to energy, which of course is crippling their economy and destroying the way of life of the people living there. Again, Germany has followed the policies that the World Economic Forum wanted them to implement. What is this leading to? The same exact situation that has created the upheaval in Sri Lanka. This, as now Deutsche Bank is now modeling the German households who have to chop wood to keep warm this winter. This, as Germany is talking about energy rationing. Energy bills there have tripled. And why did this happen? Well, this was deliberately done by Germany to its own German people that were carrying out the orders that they were given by the central controllers. Orders that, of course, are being followed by the Biden administration, that are being rushed through, all in the name of incompetency, that's being used as a way to mask them and their true cost, which is you yourself, who's going to be paying for them with your blood, sweat, and tears and a pound of flesh that the establishment is demanding from you. Will you give it? Well, that's a personal decision that you have to make for yourself. I hope the people who are informed with information will make the right decisions for themselves and their family members. But what got us here is ignorance, is the lack of information, is the lack of understanding that people just willingly walked into, thinking that it was going to be the right thing for them or the environment or the world or for everyone else, when in reality it is just absolute hell created by people who, in my opinion, are satanic devil worshippers. That's my perspective. That's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong in any way, shape, or form, let me know why down in the comment section below. I talk about the deeper, more spiritual aspects of this on LukeUncensored.com. I hope to see you there. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you could get it on LukeUncensored.com. Very simple message that I wish some politicians would just kind of implement in their policies, but they never will, because that would mean the opposite of what they're put in place for by the people who truly put them in there. As of course, if people just lived by two principles, don't take people's stuff and don't hurt them, the world would be a better place. That's what I believe in. And if you believe that too, share this video with your friends and family members, as of course this important messaging is essential towards getting the word out and countering it every step of the way. You could be a part of that just by sharing these videos. And because you do, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.